Today I'm going to just recap our whole program that we went through during the Shahr Ramadan. And as you can see, we went through a journey this whole month, the journey towards the top to perfecting our recitation. So I'll go through every lesson bit by bit, and hopefully we can just recap or learn something if we haven't gone through the lessons already. So the next slide, the first lesson that we did was short vowels. So the first lesson that we did was short vowels, where we introduced the vowels in Quran, and we said that they're fatha, kasra, and dhamma, and we said that they're pronounced with a short one count. So with the fatha, it's an a sound. With the kasra, it's denominated with a line underneath the letter with an e sound, sharp downward sound, and with the dhamma, denoted with a small mini wow on top of the letter, and pronounced with a sharp upward sound of u. And we said that how with the kasra, it's a sharp downward sound e instead of e, and with the dhamma, it's u instead of o. And we gave examples of in Surah Al-Fatiha, ihdina, which is with a sharp downward movement instead of ihdina. So ihdina. And then similarly with al-mu'minun, sharp upward movement sound instead of an o. So it's mu instead of mo. So al-mu'minun rather than al-mu'minun. And then another example that I didn't give during the lesson, but I thought it would be nice to go through it, is a salawat. Allahumma salli ala. It's not salli, it's salli. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Then if we go to the next slide, we went to long vowels. And we said that we have three mud letters. We have the alif, the waw, and the ya. And these mud letters, they activate the short vowels to make them into long vowels. And you pronounce them with two count. And then we said that the alif can only be activated when there's a fatha before it. And we gave an example of it. There's a ba fatha with an alif, then you prolong it into ba. And then the ya is only activated when there's a kasra. So for example, after a sin with a kasra, there's a ya, you pronounce it as si with a two count. And then we said with the waw, it's only activated if there's a dhamma on the letter before it. And we gave the example of fa with a dhamma, followed by a waw, it becomes fu. And then we gave a couple of examples, and we said, astaghfirullah rabbi wa atubu ilayh. And we shown that there's a ya after the ba, so it's rabbi, not rabbi. Rabbi, you prolong it with two counts. And similarly with atubu ilayh. And with the salawat, another example is the salawat where we say Allahumma. It's only two counts. When we recite salawat together, we normally prolong it as if there's a madda. It's only two counts. Allahumma. It's not Allahumma. And then also there's a shadda on the meme. So you have to stress on the meme. Allahumma. So it's not Allahumma salli ala. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So hopefully after this, we will all change our recitation of salawat and recite it properly. There was one thing that I wanted to raise over here when I was giving the examples during the lessons of La ilaha illallah, and I gave an example of illa. It has a lam alif, but I said that you prolong that. That's not true, because after the illa, the lam, Allah comes, and there's a shadda there. So that overrides the long vowel. So it's illallah instead of illa Allah, illallah. And we said that the most common errors are if we do not prolong it long enough, or we over prolong it. So we need to make sure that it's just two counts and the short vowel is just one count. Then the next lesson, we went into makharij, and we explained how we pronounce certain letters. And this lesson we explained the difference between ha and ha, and we said that how ha is pronounced from the middle part of the throat, the top ha, where we capture the air in our throat and we stress on it. So ha. And the bottom ha, that's like the English H. So you do not put any emphasis on it. Then we also gave examples of, we went through Seen and Sod and said how Seen is like the English S, nothing special about it. And then the Sod is where you pronounce with a round mouth. And we said the example, the clue that we can get is from how it's written. The Sod is written more with a circular shape, so you make your mouth more rounded. Saw. Whereas Seen has, if you can see, it has 3 teeth, so you show your teeth when you're pronouncing Seen. So that's how you differentiate between that. And the examples we gave was Surah Al-Ikhlas, قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ. The first one is the ha, the English H. Nothing special about it. قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ. And then the second one, ahad, is where you stress on it and capture the air. Ahad. And then the next example is Subhanallahi walhamdulillahi wa la ilaha illallah wallahu akbar. So if you see, the gray underlines are the ha, where you put some more emphasis in it. Subhanallah walhamdulillah. And then the red underlines are where you don't put much emphasis, like the English H. So it's very important to differentiate between the two. Then the last example is again from Surah Al-Fatiha. Ihdina as-sirata al-mustaqim. Very important to differentiate between those two. The first Sad, you put a bit, you pronounce with a round mouth. Ihdina as-si, not ihdina as-si. Ihdina as-sirata al-mustaqim. Then the second Seen, you show your teeth because you can see the teeth of the Seen. And then the next lesson we went to was Dad, Za, Dha, and Dhal. And we said that it's very important to differentiate between these. So Dad, the first letter on the right, you can see that's the Sad Dad. So that again you pronounce with a round mouth, but this time our tongue is behind our top teeth and on the side. It could either be on your left side or your right side. Dad. Very important to make sure we do that, because if you see the third letter from the right is Dha. Now that is pronounced with your tongue between your teeth. Dha. Still round mouth, but your tongue between the teeth. Dha. So Dha and Dha. And we have to make sure that we're not pronouncing them as Z. Because a lot of times we've seen when we are listening to a few people recite, there is no makharij of da or dha. They simply say za, and I'll show you in the examples how. And also now then the last letter is dhal, where we have dal and dhal. This dhal is you stick your tongue between your teeth again, and dhal. Simple. When you go through the examples, صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب. Now this is the da, the first one that we went through. Da, where your tongue is not between your teeth, it's behind your teeth and to the side. A lot of times we've heard people say maghdubi as dhal or magh. They've put a bit of emphasis with the round mouth, but again it's pronounced as dha, maghdubi, or no emphasis whatsoever and they pronounce it as maghzubi. It has to be dad, maghdubi alayhim waladallin. So again, similar. Dallin, not zallin or dhallin. Waladallin. Okay, then the next example is Subhana Rabbiyal Azimi wa bihamd. This in our ruku, we say Azimi. It's not Azimi, it's Azimi. Or not Azimi or Azimi. You pronounce with a round mouth. Azimi wa bihamd. Then the last example we gave is Allahu waliyul ladhina aman in Ayatul Kursi. Allahu waliyul ladhina, not lazina. It's not za, it's the. Ladhina aman. Yukhrijuhum min al-dhulumati. Now this is a perfect example because you're differentiating between the and the dha. So both of them you have your tongue between your teeth, but the first one, al-ladhina, is a nice empty with an empty mouth. The second one, min al-dhulumati, is with a round mouth. Then we went on to the next lesson of alif and ayn. Very important lesson, we said, because there's a clear distinction. The alif comes from the bottom part of the throat, whereas the ayn, similarly to the comes from the middle part of the throat, where you're capturing the air, and you put a bit more emphasis. And we gave a few examples. So the first one was a'udhu. So very nice example because you have the alif and the together. A'udhu. It's not a'udhu or not a'udhu. A'udhu billah. Good way to differentiate between them is by breaking it. So when we're practicing, just break it in the a'udhu. And then slowly, as you get used to it, you can recite it well. Then the second example was Sami Allahu liman hamida. A lot of times we hear people say Sami Allah. It's not a ya, or it's not an alif. It's not Sami'a. It's Sami Allah. You put a bit more emphasis on it. Another example we gave was Sirata alladhina an'amta. So again, alif first and then ayn. An'amta. Or Subhana Rabbiyal A'la. This is in our sajda, not a'la, not ala, ala wa bihamd. Then the next lesson was we went through the letters ta and ta and kha, kaf and qaf. So with ta and ta, we said that they are pronounced as your tongue behind your top two teeth, ta and ta. So now remember, with ta, it's not the English version of T. It's not ta, it's ta. And then ta, you pronounce with a rounder mouth. So again, we said the clue is in how the letter is written. It's written with a round figure. So you round your mouth. Ta. And then you have the kha, kaf, and qaf. Now we said that the kaf is the light, pronounced from the back of the mouth, lightly, kaf. And qaf is pronounced with a rounder mouth, qaf. And then kha is pronounced from the top part of the throat. You scrape it a bit. The reason why I've grouped these three together is because a lot of times we can interchange the kha with the kaf and the kaf with the qaf. And we'll go through the example. So the first example is Sirata alladhina an'amta. So the first one is ta, sirata, and the second one is an'amta. So with a light mouth. And the second example is وَلَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا فَوْقَ. So you have لَقَدْ, qaf, with a full mouth, round mouth. And then the second one is kha. A lot of times we'll hear people say kalakna. It's khalaqna. You put a bit more emphasis just to try and scrape your throat. Khalaqna. And then the qaf, the next one is qaf, fawqakum. Now this is a nice one because you can differentiate between the qaf and the kaf. Fawqa, the first one is a full, and then the next one is empty. Fawqakum. And then that completed our makhraj. We went into elevated letters. And we said that Arabic, when we're reciting, a lot of times we recite with a smile. But there are a few letters that we have to with a rounder mouth. And these were 7 in total. And we said a good way to remember them was having 3 pairs and 1 lone letter. So the first pair is sad and dad. The second is ta and dha. The third is kha and ghain. And the lone letter is qaf. And we said that these letters we have to pronounce with an elevation, regardless of whether there's a fatha, kasra, or dhamma. And we gave a few examples. Ihdina as-sirata al-mustaqim. It won't be ihdina si. Otherwise it goes into a sin. Ihdina si, with a rounder mouth. Siratal. And the ta again elevated. And then we said a good way, a good technique of trying to ensure that we elevate the letters is when we're pronouncing the letter, just move your head slightly upwards. Ihdina as-siratal. And then we have ghayril maghdubi. Gha is not ghayril, it's ghayril with a round mouth. Ghayril maghdubi. Alayhim waladdallin. Not waladdallin. Waladdallin. And then the next lesson we went on to was qalqala. That was my favorite lesson, where we, these particular letters, we put an echo on them if there's a on them. So there was qaf, ta, ba, jim, and dal, 5 letters. And we said that we remember them through the phrase qutub jad. And we said that you have to echo, make sure it's only half vowel rather than a full vowel. So you have to make sure that it doesn't go into a fatha. And the examples we gave from Surah Lam yalid, dal has a sukun, so you echo it. Lam yalid wa lam yulad. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. Or Surah Qul a'udhu bi rabbil. So there's a slight echo, just so that you can better. But it should not go into falaqa, should not falaq. And then the next lesson was rule of lam of Allah. A very simple lesson, but a very vital one. And we said that the lam of Allah is pronounced with a full mouth if there's a fatha or a dhamma ahead of it. And pronounced with a light mouth if there's a kasra before it. And we said that we gave examples of indallah or rasulullah. It's not rasulullah or not indallah. Indallah, rasulullah, and pronounced with a pronounced lightly with a kasra in front of it. So it'd be sabilillah. And we gave examples of, for example, takbiratul ihram. Allahu akbar. It's Allahu akbar. Allahu akbar. The other example was a'udhu billah. It's not a'udhu billah. Billah, because the ba has a kasra. So you pronounce with a'udhu billah. Or the same, similarly, bismillah. It won't be bismillah. Bismillah. Then the next lesson we went to was rule of ra. Similar concept with rule of Allah, where if the ra has a fatha or a dhamma, you pronounce elevation with a full mouth, ra or ru. And then we said if the ra has a sukun on it, we look at the letter before it. If the letter before it has a fatha or a dhamma, then you pronounce the ra with a full mouth. So for example, dhikra or amrun. And then we said that if the ra has a kasra, or the letter or if the ra has a sukun before it has a kasra, pronounce the ra with a light mouth, empty mouth. And we gave the example of fir'aun or hurrimat. And that completed our whole course of perfecting our recitation. I hope everyone's been practicing, and if you have any questions, then please feel free to still message me or give a second recitation, and we can always work towards it. This has to be the beginning of our journey rather than the end of our journey. And I'd just like to end with thanking you all for your feedback and for sending your recordings. And at the beginning, I said that there is to be one for the person who sends their recordings and who's shown most improvement. And alhamdulillah, I'm pleased to announce that Zainab Muqaddam won the prize, and the prize is a beautiful Bluetooth Quran speaker where it has preloaded a Quran recitation, and it can also act as a Bluetooth speaker. So anything you want to stream from your phone, you can use this speaker. So well done. Please do get in touch with your address, Zainab Muqaddam, and we'll send it across to you. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.